Get going live.
Hi, I'm Kim Kong, co-founder of Doshibu.
And I'm Sharon Larmer, co-founder too.
And we're talking today about a specific problem, specific instance that takes on a broader kind of expat problem that many are facing today. And it's about Boris Johnson, who's the current mayor of London. Mm-hmm. And he recently gave an interview to NPR mm-hmm. and is saying that basically he wasn't going to pay the U.S. any taxes, which you might think is interesting.
Okay. Well done, Boris. Right?
Exactly.
That's what the Brits say, right?
Yeah. So he's come out and he said, no taxation without representation to the former colonies.
Did you really say that? He used those words? Or
no, they didn't know, but everybody wrote that.
Everybody wrote that, yeah. I saw it on the end of one of the articles. I was like, oh, that seems like a very finished, polished end to get there.
Yeah.
I'm sure whether it was his or the writer's words. So.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed a pretty obvious kind of kicker,
very, right.
But it may seem interesting on why Boris Johnson even has to owe tax in the U.S., but he was born in New York. He's an American citizen by birth.
Right.
And even though he's lived in the UK since he was 5 and holds a UK citizenship and a UK passport as well, he still has the US passport and the US citizenship that goes with all the rights and responsibilities thereon.
Right. I mean, it's a very interesting system, isn't it? Because a lot of countries around the world use double taxation treaties. So most countries acknowledge that dual taxation is a burden on their citizens, whether they're sort of expats in your country or at home, sort of whichever way around it goes. That double taxation is not right. In this circumstance, it's not exactly double taxation, though, is it?
This specific circumstance is that as a U.S. citizen, as all U.S. citizens, no matter where they live around the world have to do, Boris Johnson is required to file an income tax return each year and also pay any taxes that the government deems he is liable for. In this case, there's a specific one, which is the sale of his London home in Islington, which the government, the IRS, says he's responsible for paying taxes on the capital gains he made. Now, I don't really remember exactly how much he's made on the house, but it's a lot. It's in an expensive area.
Yeah,
he's had it a while.
It's like $250,000 or something like that. Pounds he's making, around about that ballpark figure for his home there.
So close to $400,000 or so. And so
maybe that's still. We have to check that figure again.
All right, but but he's liable for capital gains tax according to the U.S. government on that, and he's saying that he hasn't lived in the United States since he was 5. He is already paying a tax in the UK on the sale of his home.
Right. So
why should he have to pay the US government? And a lot of people are facing this issue, and a lot of people are finding it that they, are in a situation where they want to actually renounce their American citizenship.
And this has been an interesting issue, because I've been listening to Obama talk about this, and I think the genesis of this search for money, American money, as I'm sure they feel it is tax dodging companies. Really what they're concerned about is corporate tax not being paid. Although quite often I think you find, especially in the UK, that there's not as much, people don't apply the corporate tax as sort of strictly as they employ or apply income tax. So I think it's been more designed to actually find, sort of people evading tax in very formal, large ways. And it hasn't really been designed for your average expat who probably finds it quite onerous to do that. It can be incredibly expensive to do taxes in 2 countries. It's not straightforward, it is complicated. And there are very few people who can do this for you. Yeah. So if you're not here, then it's hard to find someone there. If you're there, then it's usually a very sort of high-end lawyer or high-end tax firm that does it. And so obviously it's expensive. So for your ordinary expat, it's quite prohibitive to meet these requirements.
As is the case a lot of times in the situation, there's a broader, bigger target,
Mm-hmm.
and because of the rules have to be applied fairly across the board for everybody,
Right.
that a lot of people get caught up in these, in these new regulations that aren't the intended targets. These were, as you said, like, companies that are evading tax, setting up in different countries. A lot of this was targeted as people hiding their money in Swiss bank accounts.
Right.
So really a large amount of money, really a lot of complex tax avoidance schemes,
Right.
possibly shadow companies and things. These are all targeted, but to track all this down now, pretty much anybody who's a U.S. citizen living anywhere else in the world has to declare pretty much all their income.
Yes.
That they, that they have around the world, and it can be very onerous. Even if you don't owe anything in the end, just to get all the paperwork done.
Yeah, I think it's just such a strange idea, because most people, when they're thinking about going abroad, aren't really thinking about, do I have paperwork to do? Like, what paperwork do I have to do? And I think most people don't know. I mean, I think people who are thinking now, and a lot of those people will be people who are very well educated. There are studies that show that people who think they should go abroad are actually either have an undergraduate degree or a postgraduate degree, and they feel that that's part of their life now, or that's what they expect, that at some point they'll live around the world. And I bet that most of them aren't thinking, well, I wonder if I can afford it, from the point of view of whether or not the tax burden will be too onerous, right? I wasn't thinking that when I moved. I was just thinking, oh, I'd love to go and live there.
Yeah.
And I think that that's pretty much how most people are making that decision. Oh, I really think that would be a really exciting, fun thing to do. And then eventually they're like, oh my God, like, look at the...
Yeah.
I didn't even know I had to do that.
There's
no
U.S. double taxation treaty with Singapore.
Right, exactly.
And
so that makes it
expensive. Right, because you need to get paid a lot more, because you'll be paying taxes in Singapore and tax at the high Singapore expat rate. Yeah. And then getting hit by regular U.S. taxes.
Right, and I think it's a big ask for a company to ask you to relinquish your nationality so you can go and work for them in another country. Right. I don't think that companies should be able to ask that of you. I think that that's an unintended consequence of this problem. Yeah. That, there should be no way that your employer could cause or ask for you to do something like that. Right. I mean, I don't know what the case would be for recovering your citizenship if you actually give it up, but I should think it'd be quite hard.
U.S. citizenship is one of the most difficult to disavow, basically. You have to go through a whole series of steps to basically officially renounce your allegiance and citizenship and everything to your country, and submit your passport to the State Department. And, basically,
it's such a strange thing to do, isn't it? To renounce citizenship.
Yeah, it's a very emotional thing too. I mean, and that's where I think it's very tough that people are getting caught up in this, because they're facing very practical difficulties. Like one, whether they can afford the accountants to make sure that everything's in order, and if they don't, are they facing fines? Are they going to face severe penalties that could bankrupt them at home, or have their wages garnished or whatever? Right.
Yes, you don't want to get into a situation where you get penalties that are just impossible for you to manage.
Right, and mount up. And two, that it's making it a lot more difficult for people to deal with U.S. expats, so they're just not doing it. For example, in the UK, banks are considering not giving U.S. citizens bank accounts, because basically, then if they do, then the U.S. government has a right to inspect those accounts with certain funds, and it's just A, they don't want to because banks are naturally secretive anyway, and B, that they just don't want to go through the hassle of going through what they consider the extra cost of dealing with a U.S. citizen.
The compliance issues then become costly for them to prove that they are in compliance. Also, it might just be straightforwardly a rejection, as I think you've seen Boris do, that I don't think this law is really applicable, and I don't think it should be upheld. And I think that that's a question that lawmakers have to ask themselves, is like, really, is this law right? Right. Maybe we need to rethink it and rework it so that some of these problems aren't just instantly occurring for people.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of problems that you have when you move to a new country is one, opening a bank account anyway, because you don't have the ID you require. So now you're making it almost impossible. You get there.
Right.
Britain wants to know whether or not you are actually entitled to be there, so you're going to find it hard to get residency, and people are just going to say, well,
you couldn't renounce your citizenship before you left, because then you'd be out of country.
I know, you'd be stateless, so
right.
how are you going to get there?
You'd have to get it. Yeah, that's another thing. You have to get over their citizenship first.
I know, and if you're in the middle of renouncing it, paperwork is kind of a little bit of a strange
Not everybody can
it?
become mayor of another major city in another major country and get their passport that way. Other people
right. Not everyone can have a bike named after them.
That's true. The Boris bike.
We're not all Boris.
But I mean, so basically, it is like we said in the title. It's your money or your passport. I mean, do you want a bank account or do you want to remain a U.S. citizen? Is a choice you're suddenly having to face, and it's very emotional on a political level, on a historical level. Like people who renounce their citizenship aren't generally considered just people who couldn't deal with regulations. They're like Bobby Fischer renouncing his country because he hated America, or Lee Harvey Oswald did this, and was one of the few people who actually got a passport immediately issued back when he came back from Russia.
I know, but we're not all spying. I mean, how are we going to do this? I'm going to be completely incapable of managing this. And it works the other way as well for people thinking about becoming Americans.
Yeah.
So what do you do then if you own a lot of things in the UK? Maybe you have a business, a home, and that's not extraordinary wealth or anything like that. I don't have any way of paying for the type of wealth management this bill is attracting.
Right, and there's a lot of
it's sort of, you work hard for something and obviously you want to accumulate wealth. Right. While you work over the years that you actually work, so you can pay for your retirement and ensure that you have money for the things you want and need. And that just kind of gives you a handicap, sort of saying going abroad is now there's a big financial penalty to becoming an American. Right,
and the rhetoric, the emotional rhetoric in the political side of it is pretty bad, because there's, senators saying, well, if you renounce your citizenship for financial reasons, then you can never return to the U.S.
Right.
And that's, you're basically barred from your own nation.
Right. And what if someone's convinced you that it's straightforward? And lots of people do this with paperwork as well. They say, well, it's just the paperwork. You can just do it like this or like that, So I think that sometimes it depends on what, the culture within your country is at that point. Some people might come in and out, it might be really straightforward. People might say, oh, well, okay, you were abroad, you renounced, you came back, welcome home. They might say that, but they might not. And when they don't, if you need to come home for some reason, then there's no reason to believe that your entire life will be spent abroad.
And if you look at the prejudice that expats get in general, of people saying, oh, you left your country, you went to live abroad, you don't get to vote, your opinion doesn't matter. Think how bad that prejudice would be as if you actually renounced your U.S. citizenship. They would just, decide that you're some, communist defector who shouldn't be allowed in the nation ever again. And basically all you wanted to do was open a bank account.
You get trapped into a situation where what you've done is completely misunderstood by other people, as opposed to the fact that, you're kind of caught in this bind. So you just say, okay, I'll just go through this process, but it's not just a process. It's going to be looked upon very negatively, especially here in the States, where there's so much pride in being American.
Right. And one thing that I think that one solution to it is that I read that expat Americans, if you take the population of them all together, would be the population 13th largest state.
Yeah, that's a lot of people,
in the Union.
Right?
That's a lot of people, and that could influence a lot of people. Yeah, and I think that having a lobbying group would be really good.
Yeah.
Have somebody on Capitol Hill lobbying for the rights of expatriates.
Right.
Saying that these contributing to political parties, getting on agendas, having certain candidates who have been expats, returning home, then actually running for office.
Right.
I think would be a really good step in the right direction for helping those interests. And, I don't think they're represented right now, and I think that is a thing, and I think everybody thinks it's funny. Oh, let's go get the mayor of London and tax his house. But the people getting caught in this are not, people in capital gains things. They're people a lot of times just trying, to live abroad, make a regular salary, and build some wealth in either with a home or equity or with some investments.
Yeah, right. It is becoming kind of onerous in that way, and hopefully some of these sort of consequences put together in a little video like this make it obvious why it's a law that's not working, or it's not addressed at the right people. So it should definitely, we definitely do need lobbying in that way to change that law and make it much more fair to people who otherwise would have lesser lives, because going abroad is a really great experience, and we shouldn't limit Americans.
No, more people should be doing it.
Yeah,
It shouldn't be.
Going abroad, it's such a great thing to do, and I think a lot of Americans want to. I mean, we're more global now than ever, and I think that people really, they know people in other countries. I tweet with people in other countries. I don't even know them, and I see the world around, and I'd love to travel more, but yeah.
And the skills that people learn abroad, and there's the new ways of thinking, ideas that they get. I think it's really important to America's development.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the next generation is as important as the key science skills that we're talking about, attracting, having more people with these sort of STEM abilities. And so one of the great ways for you to learn to think in multiple ways is for you to experience multiple cultures at once. So that really opens your mind to ideas of problem solving, and hopefully if you're an engineer, it gets applied in engineering solutions.
And here's something fun.
Yes, fun. Yes,
if the expat population was a state, they should have state flag and state bird, state song and motto and things like that.
Like Sheldon.
Yeah, exactly, like Sheldon. turn the flag upside down in times of crisis.
It's a time of crisis.
I think that would be good. I hope anybody who's watching the video, and if they have any ideas on what the state motto and the state bird of American expat should be.
That should be fun. I can have a little twipper. Is that what it's called? When you put a little icon onto the twipper, like it's like, when you have breast cancer.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, just a little ribbon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a ribbon on your tweets, so you can show your support.
For U.S. expats.
State of expats.
Right. Yeah. That'd be good.
Yeah, I like that.
Stateless state.
Yes, stateless people.
I think we're good. I'm excited.
I like that. It's nice.
Yeah. So
it's
if you do, anybody has any ideas, just contact us through doshibu.tv or tweet at the Art of the Expat, and we'd love to hear your ideas.
Yeah, we would. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks.